Everybody going? Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's version of Zero to One. We're really excited to welcome some new faces. I can definitely see some new faces in the attendee group, and then some existing ones as well. Welcome back as well. Thanks for joining us again. This week's session is an exciting one. It's a very topical one. I think everybody has an interest, at least to some extent, in how we can use AI technology to improve our lives, make ourselves more efficient, also upskill ourselves so that we can, make sure that we're staying with the times. And even more exciting, at least from my point of view, because of my sort of e-commerce background, is on how it can help from a marketing point of view too. So we're really excited to welcome Angelica here with us today from OpenSeal, and we'll let her introduce herself in just a moment. Just before we do kind of jump into the slides and the information, everything like that, just want to quickly get an understanding from everybody in the chat where you are calling in from. So let me just turn the chat on properly. So that should be there. If you just drop in the chat where you're calling in from. I know we've got a few people on here who are based in Singapore. Just checking if anyone else in the world. Hi, Anu, good to see you here as well. Very specific, Danny. Yeah, I love that. Cecil Street, Singapore. So got a lot of Singapore. So all your examples will be very relevant there, Angelica, that you've got as well. Tomorrow, yeah. Anson Road, Singapore. Okay, yeah, we got mostly Singapore, I guess. So we'll see. I think I saw there's a couple of people that were calling in from India as well. I know our friend from Cambodia. I don't know if did he sign up this week? I'm not sure, but
Not this week. Not this week.
yeah, we'll be sure to send in the recording anyway. But yeah, welcome everyone. It's good to see you here. So without further ado, I'll pass to Angelica, and we'll get started with the session. So thank you, Angelica, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jamie. Yes, us. So, yeah, I'm Angelica. I'm just gonna present my screen over here. All right. So today there'll be a lot of videos. So, I tend to be a bit more visual. So if anything you wanna just like stop and ask, I can stop the recording right there, like the video recording right there, and go a bit more in depth. But yeah. So just to get started, I'm Angelica. I've been a growth marketer for 10 years. Essentially what that means is I'm the boring one, just pure data, pure growth, not the creatives. And I started my career in an agency looking at ad marketing. Then I went over to Cloak looking at APAC partnerships and marketing, and went over to Google before I came out and did this startup. And just like you guys, I actually started doing my own thing as well during a career break. I was doing floral arrangements and workshops and selling some toys, retail and stuff. Yeah, obviously that didn't work out. So what happened is like throughout all these years, I realized that every single time I go to a new product, go to a new industry, there's really no one size fit all playbook. You have to discover it for yourself, and it constantly changes, even based on like your external environments. Like let's say, even with America, I mean, you can see all the tariffs coming up. If you're selling cars in Japan, like honestly, that has been a proper, it's just blown up. So you just have to adapt with the times. But
Yeah,
Sorry,
Angelica.
I
sorry.
didn't want to interrupt your flow there, but
Uh,
the slides at the moment,
mm-hmm.
I can't see the slides. Were you presenting them?
Oh
Because
yeah, I
this is
am.
the Excel sheet.
Oh shoot. Okay, let me
Yeah.
see.
I guess that you were going through the slides already,
Okay.
because you
Oh
mentioned.
yeah, I was. Ah, you saw my brand
There
listing,
we go.
my little emails. Nah.
I thought you were going to do a demo straight away. That's what I
No.
thought. Yeah, so I didn't want to,
No, those are
well, all
emails
good.
that I got from Legion. Anyway,
Yeah,
so hi again. Angelica here. So just go through quickly. You can see my screen again. Now can you see it?
yeah, perfect.
Perfect. All right. So I've been a growth marketer for 10 years. This is when I was in the agency days, went over to Cloak and then Google, did my own stuff. Then but basically there's no one size fit all playbook, and that's what I'll be going through today, because you have to basically create and keep iterating your own. And we already have so much on our bandwidth, like how are we going to do that? So full of videos today. Basically what I like to do is just work with what you already have. So no, like I'm not going to go deep into like paid ads or anything. It's basically like what do you have right now and what can you do today? All right. So you have LinkedIn websites that go through quick comparative analysis, stuff that normally pay consultants for. Now AI can help you do that. SEO on a budget. So I'm not going to go through SEM rush, but then I'll show you how you can do a little hack. And content pillars, just going to go through a quick one, and finally just like optimizing things like Canva and better ad targeting. So for the purpose of today, basically I'll be going through my tool because this is the one that we've basically embedded in the browser. So you get to see basically cover various ranges of use cases. So working with what you already have. So you probably already have LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, the website builder that you've set up your website on, Canva, Shopify for your e-commerce brand. But let's just go into just the very basic thing of just your LinkedIn. So LinkedIn posts are basically where people can see what you're doing and whatnot, and also where you build your own personal brand. But there are obvious ways of improving it, like from like let's say posting certain things, posting your event stuff. But how do you optimize it once you've done all that? So you basically are able to, with AI now, you can just read the entirety of what you've been posting. And I've just been like scrolling because the whole point of the tool is embedded in the workflow. So you can just keep doing whatever you want to while it's processing what you're trying to get. So yeah, over here you can see that it's reading your LinkedIn activity and it's giving you content strategy. So over here, like telling you what timings you should go, what your current strategies, how you can get more attention, basically. So it's basically gone through your existing metrics on your screen, and then it's telling you, okay, optimize for that. You want more eyeballs or likes, optimize for this instead. So let me go to the next one. All right. Another one would be over here. So I was talking about websites. So over here we have Studs and Stones. So this is a earring company in Singapore. And essentially, like you have your website, but how do you increase conversion rates? You have people coming to it, but they're not buying. Why? So you'll have to iterate some stuff. And how do you start? And that's whereby, you just ask things like, how do I increase it? And it'll run through the whole entire website, the landing page, tell you what to change. So over here, you can see it's giving you some quick wins and essentially like, oh, just put more urgency rather than, just say, oh, buy now. Maybe changing something to like last piece left that actually pushes people to buy. So some simple stuff like that on a day-to-day, we don't tend to think about. We just want to get it out there, keep pushing, and just keep growing. But all these small things do matter in the long term as well. So having that AI to basically watch what you're doing and give you some information is extremely helpful. Then another one, I mean, I'm going like very use case specific, as you can see, but essentially comparative analysis. So you may have competitors in the market, and maybe you go on the website, you check the pricing, you'll be like, oh, what are they doing today? But honestly, you don't have to do it so manually. And you can just go and like the beauty about AI is that, especially AI agents, is that they can browse the web for you and check all this. It's basically the research on behalf of you. So for example, so OpenSeal, my tool, one potential competitor people do bring up is something called Reforge. So that is growth marketing and product marketing tool in the US, and some like courses and stuff. So I asked it actually, how can I position myself better based on the website landing pages and stuff? This was the result, but how you get it is essentially that. So just going in, we have something called growth mode. Um, and essentially what you'll see here is I'm just going to ask very simple questions like queries, but it will give me a super powered prompt. So the thing about AI is that you are unfortunately as good as your prompt. So you get what should I do? It'll give you a very generic, oh yeah, just do that. But if you want to dig deep into details, that's where you need to actually put in very specific bits in your prompt. So essentially prompt engineering. So the way this works is it gets the context of what you're doing and puts it into the chat so that it summarizes and basically makes it relevant to what you're trying to achieve. So that is just one of the ways you can get comparative analysis on just on the fly. So for this one, I just asked, can you compare our websites? I just want to, you know, shop on Zalora while I do it. So yeah, and let's see.
Just while that's loading as well, you kind of preempted a question I was going to ask, which was about the prompts themselves.
Hmm.
I think that's probably something that people get stuck on. Maybe if they ask too simple a prompt, they might not get the answer as deep as they like it is. But I can see the detail in that video is a lot more, right?
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, you see over here, I started with very simple, like I just want to compare. And honestly, like if it's just a simple comparison, you'd be like, oh, just do it. But the reality is that AI is an over enthusiastic intern. It can't think like you. So you have to direct it. And the issue with directing it means you have to get very nitty-gritty. You can see how like detailed this kind of prompt would be. So it's calling out specific frameworks, people like analysts that it can emulate and things like that because it has that mind and is able to switch that persona. But you again, how do you know which persona is useful? You don't unless you know like you really just keep reading and everything, but who has time for that? So yeah, a quick shortcut over there.
So the
Then,
question that fired in, I don't know if it's you want to answer
uh-huh.
later, but
Let me,
said
yeah,
which
sure.
LLM is it using? Which large
Oh,
language model for anyone who
Claude.
doesn't understand that acronym?
Yeah, we're on Claude. So, reason why we went on with Claude was because we're privacy first, and this allows us to basically keep it all entirely private for you. So all on your laptop. So we had to build it like that. Um, but then that means we don't have your data, by the way. But also Claude is really good in Asian languages compared to things like ChatGPT and stuff. So if you're working Korean, Japanese, even traditional Mandarin, it's pretty good with that. So if
Yeah,
you're yeah,
I
if you're
like
trying to
Claude.
exactly, if you're trying to sell or make ad copies across different markets, you don't have to think so much. You don't have to worry too much about translation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I talked about the stuff that you already have. So now I talk about building a foundation. So you see over here, I have SEMrush. So normally when you want to build your foundation, you're going to do SEO like research. You're going to find what keywords you want to position for, write the content, yada yada. But it's great, but this is the price of SEMrush. So honestly, it costs a bomb. And until you're ready to pay for this, and once you're basically more comfortable with the thought of optimizing your SEO, writing content based on that, you should just do budget ways. So SEO is important. It takes time. And maybe your competitors have already ranked really well on certain keywords that you want to get and you want to rank for. But the way you can actually work your way around it is to identify niches that you yourself can rank for. And this involves basically identifying gaps. So your competitor definitely has gaps that you can exploit. Then another one is also to find your differentiators in content and messaging, and that's how you basically rank in your niches. So over here in this one, I'm going to bring up Reforge, the tool I was talking about earlier on, and I'm just going to ask, like basically what SEO keywords are they basically trying to rank for? And so this will just give me a rough overview. So I mentioned this is budget. So it will go through like the content and be like, so this is what they're trying to get. And from that, at least I can have a foundation to work on.
Is
So
this going to look at like the meta titles and meta tags and things like
correct,
that?
correct. So it digs into the metadata and stuff. And that's again like AI. Like it just looks for text and code is text. So it's gonna bring all that up. And yeah, so over here it's giving me some stuff. And I'm gonna take the hat of product growth consultant. So maybe this is one of my competitors, but I'm a small little guy. I've just started out. So how can I what kind of keyword should I be targeting? Because I can't possibly like fight someone like who has millions of dollars in funding. So yeah, basically just ask questions like that. And because it has that context, it knows that you're looking at Reforge, it's got the idea of who you are. It's gonna start making it relatable to you. So essentially finding those keywords for that. And there we go. So breaking it down into high intent, problem statements, etc., and showing you how you can start. So when I say start, I mean this. There we go. So these are called content pillars. So content pillars basically form the foundation of your brand, of like what you're going to write about, etc. and how you're going to rank for your keywords. So basically, things like this, you can, with AI, you don't have to think about it as well. So I mentioned earlier on about AI agents and stuff. This can now actually create stuff in a Google Sheet for you. So going back to that same bit here, so I asked it, can you create the content pillars for me? And this is integrated with Google Sheets, so it just starts to create it in the backend for me. Then and that was the result that you saw earlier on. So yeah. The thing about AI agents though is that they're also quite temperamental. So one day you might get like a really, really good result. The next day it'll tell you, oh, spend a long time and then just give you very like maybe just a five liner. When you're just like, oh, I spent like 5 minutes waiting for that. So again, like the AI agent space is still growing, especially for things like research and marketing related stuff. So even things like campaign optimizations and stuff. The reason why I don't push for that is because it's your money. You don't want to just give AI free reign of your budgets. So human in the loop, I feel is still important. And this is, by the way, the result. So I'll just pause it here.
Just a
So the
quick
re Mhm,
question on what you just mentioned, where sometimes you can get like maybe a less good result from the AI.
mhm.
Would you then recommend just try to rerun that again straight away or to wait, or is there any kind of rule on that that would help, try
Mm.
and get a better result the second time?
So with AI, you can actually tell it that you're not happy with the result.
Yeah.
So I mentioned the over-enthusiastic intern, right? You tell it you're not happy and say that you like the previous style, and it will try its best to deliver that.
Okay.
So for that one hit wonder, like let's say you like this kind of template that comes out, you can basically save this and paste it, or just like I tell you for this particular tool, you can click it as a text. So let's say you want this kind of template for future renditions. It has that is able to repeat this as long as you point a reference to it.
Great.
Yeah. So yeah, just retry, point references, and then it'll get it eventually. Yep. And then let's go to the next one. So yeah. And when it comes to building things like, let's say, lead gen, you have your website builders, etc., and you're just trying to figure out how you can work around with it. Um, this is whereby having AI agents in, well, for this particular one in your browser would be very helpful, because you can just point and ask, like for over here we show a share screen. Hey, what I want to basically create a survey, and it's generated the questions for you, so I put it up there. Now that I've generated the questions, how exactly do I set it up properly? Because, I'm sure some of us have had this issue whereby we push out something live, turns out it's not doing what we wanted it to do because of just like one random setting we didn't click. So we finally have this like extra pair of eyeballs to just check and verify for us before we execute. So over here, for this particular instance, if you go to my website, I actually created a lead gen survey. Um, and I'm just making sure that over here, what is the settings that I want to put to make sure that people who come back to the website can see it again. I don't want it to be just once and then basically shown once and then disappears, because
Mm.
that basically negates the whole entire thing. So it tells me I need to change a setting, adjust the number, etc. And it also gives me best practices as well. So you don't, piss off your consumers as well. And ads. So over here, we have Canva. So for this particular one, we were creating a conference banner, and essentially what happened was we just want to make it more interesting, make it convert better. So again, like rather than just like going around us like digging for best practices, looking for articles that like from designers and stuff, you can just again share your screen and ask like, how should I improve this? So again, it has the context, so it's going to tell you based on your product what you should be changing, etc. And over here, like what call to action you need as structure. And also it checks your size. Okay, this is fine. So when you're creating things like ads, certain dimensions need to be covered as well. So for best practices or even based on, let's say, a specific market, it can do the research for you and tell you, okay, this market prefers carousel ads. You should be pushing this instead. So it does direct you in certain ways, which is, yeah,
Sorry, question. When you
go for
click
it.
share screen,
Mm-hmm.
would it be what you see in the screen right now? Because I can see you're scrolling down on the document in that sense. So
Yeah.
is it gonna just look at what you can see at that moment, or would it look across?
It looks at, for share screen, it looks at what's on your screen at the moment.
Okay.
So this is more useful for things like images, or if you have graphs and stuff that you
Mm.
just want to read, or a table of documents and stuff. But if it's all text, then again, like just asking a question like we did previously, like example, the websites and stuff, asking
Yeah.
about the keywords, that is a pretty straightforward one. You don't have to share the screen because ideally you want to cover end to end.
Hmm.
But share screen is if you want to point at something specific.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
nice.
So yeah, then over here, so you have things like now you have your ad set up. So you basically want to make sure, okay, I'm gonna make an ad copy specific to my target audience, but who should I be targeting? So again, the whole market research and all that comes into play. And how do you write your copies? So there's tons of tools out there. You have Jasper, you can even just use it on ChatGPT. But then what you want is basically make it relevant to your brand and to the context based on what you've already been building up and working on for let's say the past few months. Any iterations you have made as well from like just the brand messaging and whatnot, that needs to be captured because the smallest thing would be basically referencing, let's say, your brand image from like 3 months back because you just didn't update it on ChatGPT and stuff. So over here, what I'm going to show you is market research. So you can head back to, let's say, your own website and then ask, like, what kind of target market do you think I should be going for? And for particularly for Instagram ads. So it's just gonna go through and see your features, how what kind of target audience would resonate best with this. So let's see here. Yep. And earlier on I mentioned about the contact updated context and updated brand image. That's because this has memory of you so that it keeps updating as you use it as well. So it gets the most updated data about you. Then yeah. So it's telling me for this particular product, like I should be going for early adopters and what's a good ad copy. So for me, essentially like I just need to break down demographics, interests and stuff. And that's how you can create your ideal target audience for ads. So this is going a bit more in detail. And then it's telling me if I want a prompt solution hook, I have this. For more, you have that. So it's giving some options as well, the ones that you saw earlier on. Let me go back. These. So
Mm.
there were a few others, but these were the best ones. So I put it. Then yeah. So paid ads, the ones I just went through, they basically help you to boost visibility. Great. But more importantly, they gather data points. So the thing is, you may just choose, okay, I'm going to spend $20 a day, but that actually equals to 600 a month at the end of it. So before you ever commit to that kind of spend, you should be laying out experiments. So early on, I was checking about target audience. So with all that, there were early adopters and stuff, and some others that I would probably pick. And that's basically to compare like which target audience resonates best. They have to set a cap and things like that. But there's another one more for e-commerce brands as well. It's the A/B testing of messaging. So for certain markets, dollar discounts work. For other markets, percentage discounts work better.
Mm.
So this is where paid ads help because this is where you can gather those data points because you know where you're targeting, you know where your ads are being served. So this is how you basically gather that and scale. So whatever works, go for that and just keep ramping it up. So the other bit here, earlier on I showed you how you can write ad copies. Now, if you have already bitten the bullet and started ads, let's say on Facebook, you can also get some help with optimization. So from a glance, this particular one is basically asking how should I optimize? And it's showing things like what you should be pausing, what kind of bids you should be adjusting, etc. So this is one example over here. And yeah, so essentially just takeaways. I mean, I'll just show you the tool. So the key takeaways, again, this is integrated with the deck. So I just asked it to create it for me.
Nice.
Yeah. So
It's like
the key,
AI's inception.
exactly. No, so basically, yeah. Um, before you do all your AI integration and stuff, the main thing is foundation, honestly. So, and basically work with what you already have. So before you start doing things like I'm gonna do $1,000 campaign, whatnot, you need to set the foundation right, and then remember that no one size fits all. So your competitor might be doing one thing that does not mean that you have to follow suit. You'll just end up in a bidding war. You'll burn. And honestly, we're small businesses. We don't have that luxury of time and of money as well. So every dollar counts.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, if you're going to take away some stuff from today, look into your existing platforms. So your LinkedIn websites, figure out how you can convert better on those because you already have that. And then before you dig deep and pay for things like SEMrush, just go around and use budget-friendly scraping tools like OpenSeal, for example, to build your SEO from there, and then focus on organic growth. Then once you're more comfortable with that, then go dive into paid and figure out how to scale from there. Like once you've really set your foundation. Then the next one is psychological triggers always work. So emotional benefits. So earlier on, I mentioned things like FOMO, like the urgencies and things like that. So that is always very useful across any industry, regardless of whether it's tech access, your like a fashion retail brand, etc. This drives conversions the most. So figure it out. The messaging could differ, but you'll have the data points. You can always test. Then before you implement AI tools, before you let the AI start to guide you, basically do things for you and stuff, make sure that you have the foundation because you are the one that is building the business and you're the one who has the idea of what kind of vision you have for it as well. So you need to point and guide. Remember, it's always an over enthusiastic intern. It will not do the work, like let's say perfectly at once. You need to train it up. And so that's why like it just, you know, point, reference, and use it to help you verify, but don't depend on it 100%.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and that's it. So yeah, I mean it was really quick. Lots of videos. I hope it was useful, open to questions, and yeah,
Yeah,
thank
well,
you.
I know we had one question already which you answered, and sorry, a couple from me as well, but
Mhm.
thanks for that so far. So just a reminder to everybody here as well, you can either use the Q&A button on the Zoom bar at the bottom and ask your question in there, or if you want to put it in the chat, or if you want to put your hand up, you can ask it. We'll unmute you and you can ask it that way as well. So maybe we'll give you a couple of seconds to do that. And then I'll mute myself. I think maybe Estes, you've got a question, right? You want to just ask in the meantime?
Angelica, just a question on kind of type of business that could use the tool that you was demonstrating. Is it
Mhm.
kind of meant for startups, freelancers, or is it even kind of adaptable by a larger business as well?
Oh, it's adaptable. It actually covers all. So we
Mhm.
have freelancers and startup founders using this, but we also have hyper growth startups. So Cloak actually is a client. So Cloak Travel. So their global marketing team is using it, and some of their BD as well. So because you saw it covers quite a wide range of use cases. So again, it adapts itself to your context and to your basically your situation.
Right.
Mhm.
You have a question. There you go.
Oh yeah, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. My question is just about, let's say you did the 15-day trial.
Mm-hmm.
One of my biggest barriers to starting anything like this is, oh my God, another thing that I have to learn. What would you recommend as the starting place, and what you would really recommend to do in those 15 days?
So once you get the tool, definitely go through your website, do the whole website hygiene. We call it conversion rate optimization. So that way you can make the fixes quickly, and you have basically two weeks to gauge whether there's an increase in conversions or uplift in your brand, etc. Then once that website thing is done and you've done the fixes, you can also go into your socials and get it to check through your socials and ask like what kind of like brand image is this giving, and check whether this aligns to what you actually want, and get the recommendations and tweak accordingly. So again, like, and then create the content pillars, or go through the content pillars that you already have. Essentially using this as a hygiene check across
Yeah.
your existing stuff that'll be your first 5 days already. Once that is done, I think I recall you do programs as well, right, Alika?
Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
signature program, the Health Concierge, and then I have two, like Human Design Reading is the smaller, like entry level program I have. It's more of a reading.
Okay. So you have data about that, right? Example, like your purchases, the kind of people
Yeah.
okay, perfect. So you
Yeah,
can
I
use
have
this to
100 books.
basically, perfect. So you can create an Excel sheet, like a CSV file of all this,
Yeah.
and then feed it into the system and ask it to draw insights. So the kind of people that keep going to it, basically creating the ICP or that lookalike audience essentially from your existing data. So it's able to go through that as well. You just upload that I think I'll show it to you. Let me come out of this. Just
While you're
I
so
don't
doing
think
that,
they
I had
could
a
see
question.
things like,
Yeah.
sorry, I was going to say, I don't think they could see things like gender or age though, would they? Because when someone buys my programs, it wouldn't give them that information.
so it's not, there's no
I mean, when
like
someone buys a program, like I have a very sophisticated database. It's Entreport that I use. Like, so it's a good CRM, but it wouldn't, if someone's trying to buy a program, it wouldn't ask them for their date of birth, their gender, their age, age or anything like that.
Okay.
You
It
should
would
be
ask for
able to
things
get
like
some of
email,
that
right? And name and that.
in your Google Analytics, Alika. You should be able to get some of that. It
Oh
might
yeah, yes.
it might not be 100% accurate, but it will give you based on, I mean, Google's a pretty good yardstick in that sense for measuring demographics.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. And actually, my reviews, it would have that information from my Google reviews.
I was going to ask you, Angelica, sorry, just while Angelica was teeing that up
Yeah,
as well, like, I'm just curious because I know you run multiple businesses yourself.
yeah.
Like, do you find yourself doing a lot of this stuff yourself? Do you outsource it, like marketing, ads, things like that? Or maybe you just haven't really dabbled as much in it? Because I know you've got a big network that you tap into, but aside,
Yeah. I am like very process driven only because I'm terrible with technology and I don't like to overwork.
yeah.
So that there's a little conflict there. So I delegate hugely, but I set up task delegation really well on Asana, my project management system. So then what I just find is sometimes when I just have these creative splurges, I use Gemini and then I just go in and I ask it lots, and then I have these binges, these moments of binge. So I wouldn't say I'm consistent with stuff like that, but I binge occasionally and then go like, oh, okay. So like when she was talking, my brain was like firing off with all these different things, and I just threw 3 questions just then into, like, one of the questions I just threw into AI from her presentation was based on everything that you know about me, which it has a lot of background. What would be the best way to optimize my website and marketing for SEO purposes? And it just gave me a feed, and I just literally just shared that with the team. So
Brilliant.
I have these creative binges.
Nice.
I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does, yeah. Yeah, no, I was just curious really.
Yeah.
And that's also open to other people who are here on the chat. I know we have business owners, entrepreneurs, some are freelancers. It's always good to get people's perspectives because I think this is somewhat of a new area. But of course the marketing and ads things go back many years now. So we've just all had to find a way to muddle along in the past, depending on budgets and resources and things. Yeah, so we'll leave that one open. But yeah, Angelica, I don't know if you was going to show something, right? Or Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no. I was just gonna show like the file bit here.
Oh,
So
okay.
I mean, yeah, I was mentioning the CSV stuff, right?
Yeah.
Just like data dump and ask. So the good thing about AI as well is that it can process a lot of information. So you're able to draw insights that maybe you never thought of as well. So it's just really like just trying basically.
I think it's the case, maybe because I know I've seen you do a couple of demos of this before as well. Is it the case that if say Erica logged into her Google Analytics and then had the widget on the screen, she could then say, right, pull out the demographic information that you know, and it would have a look on the Google Analytics? Would it do that?
Correct. It will just look at the dashboard. So if you're
Yeah.
not giving it the raw data, it will look at the dashboard. And
Yeah.
then it will tell you like, and if it's trying to find something, it might even open up a tab to look for that particular data point it's trying to cross-ref with.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
just by the way if you didn't have the raw data here.
Mhm.
Just remind me, what was the starting package after the 15 days?
Oh, as in the cost?
Yeah.
It's 20 US a month.
Oh, that's very good.
Mhm.
And it doesn't create images, does it? Like Midjourney does.
No, it
Does it?
doesn't create.
Yeah, it just connects to Canva and gives feedback. Like, yeah.
It connects to anything actually. So if you're using Midjourney as well. So one thing I used this for was, let me show it to you now actually. So I use Firefly.
Yeah.
Do you guys see this coming up?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. No, so essentially, if I want to create like images, so let's say, honey pot with a bear.
Is Firefly a free AI image creator?
It is, but then it puts a watermark, so you'll
Oh.
have yeah. So let's see. Okay. So honeypot with a bear. And the thing is, like, let's say you're not very happy with this, but you're not sure how to prompt. Again, the whole prompting thing, right? You can just share your screen and I'll see what you're doing again and be like, I want to create a bear that looks like a Pokemon or something. Pokemon. I want it to be eating the honey. How should I write it? So the thing is, it's gonna read this and it's gonna see the context. Like you're trying to make a honey pot with a bear somehow, but you want this kind of context. So it'll tell you how to write the prompt.
Perfect.
And that's why I mentioned the whole embedding thing. So okay, let's see. So basically it's able to get it at once, so work alongside you. Let's say we'll do this. Detailed character design. Let's try that and see what we get. There, even the copyright issues. So use Pokemon style rather than Pokemon for potential copyright issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen that with the Studio Ghibli stuff this week, right? So
Oh yeah.
the creator that's
brilliant.
very happy about that.
Yeah,
No.
I get it now. So it feels to me like, I'm sure you said this, apologies. Yeah, but it feels more like an assistant to you to help you to use all of the things, including other AI platforms.
Correct, including Asana, by the way.
Oh yes. Oh my God,
Yes.
we do need that. So it's
So
actually like a training partner in a way.
correct. So we call it like a personal knowledge worker. So it's like your own knowledge worker at the site. So
Yes.
it can access any of your browser tabs. So it doesn't matter what tool you're using. As long as it's in the browser, it can see what you're doing.
Okay. And just sorry, another question is, can I give access to my team with that package that you said, the $20 US a month?
No, unless the thing is because it's it basically saves things on your computer. So that's why I
that makes
mentioned that
sense.
privacy bit. Yeah. So your contacts, everything is all stored on your device.
Yeah, but that's fine because it would still allow me to delegate based on what I see. Okay, so from me personally, I would love to explore it, but I have one team member off now until after the Ramadan period is over, and then another one off the second week of April. So I don't want to do it when they're both off because I won't get the most out of it. I know what I'm like. So would you just contact me like the first week of May so that I can get started around then?
I think I have your WhatsApp. So
Yeah,
sure,
perfect.
sure.
The team have got my details if not.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Connect you on that one, yeah, no problem. Awesome. No, it's good that we can got a use case here as well. Just wondering if anyone else got any questions in here. I'm curious to maybe I might pick on somebody. Okay, we do have one from tomorrow just now. Okay, so it says, can you explain in a bit more detail about how the technology reads the screen?
Mm-hmm. So like the screen sharing or like the end-to-end reading like this?
Maybe both.
Both? Sure.
Both, yeah.
So it's something called passing. So it's basically scraping the entirety of your stuff on the tab. So for example, if I'm gonna ask something like this, like summarize this, it will summarize this entirety.
Okay.
So this is the end-to-end passing. So that's why it basically that's how you got things like the SEO keywords that let's say your competitor is trying to rank for and stuff, because that's all in the text, all in the code. So it pulls out the whole jumble of stuff. You can see
Would
over
that be
here.
majority text though? Would it be able to read
Mhm.
the images on the fly as well?
Depends on the images posted. So for example, the videos, it's not able to view that.
Sure.
But if it's copy paste of, let's say, like a table and things like that, it can read that.
Okay.
So yeah, an example would be this. So this is the passing, whereby it's making sense of the whole entire thing. If you're doing things like screen sharing, so this is, oops, sorry. Screen sharing is just literally like taking a screenshot of what's on your page at that time when you ask the question. So for example, over here, I could ask like, how should I improve this slide? So this would basically be looking at the QR code, thank you, this whole entire bit here.
Yeah.
And it's just going to take that particular thing as context.
So in that minute, it will do a screenshot of the page, and that screenshot image is the thing that it's reviewing then.
Right.
Okay.
So let's say you've done this and you've adjusted it again, you can just ask a question and it'll update the thing again. So every time you ask a question, it'll take the screenshot.
Great. Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Mhm.
So hopefully that answers your question tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, cool. Good. I was gonna ask one person, Anu, I don't know if you wanted to just chat for a second, because I know that you're also looking at things across cybersecurity, AI, things like that as well. Like, I wondered if you had any thoughts on this topic from a marketing point of view as well. I'm just gonna unmute you.
Yeah, hi Jamie. I guess my question was, I was thinking along the lines of just knowing a bit more about the privacy features it has, and in terms of what kind of data do you collect from people that are using the product, or and from I know you said that data isn't saved or stored, but I'd just like to know a bit more about that aspect.
Yeah, so all this data that I've done, essentially what we did previously was we built AI locally in your browser, so it would run offline, but that meant slower performance. So we've done this thing whereby we don't store or log. We still process in the cloud now, so we use cloud for that. But there's no storing or logging of your data, and then even from the AI side, so cloud has nothing essentially. And for our bit, when we talk about context and the memory bit, is something called local memory. So that was the saving on your device. So all these things here, if you go to settings, I can show you over here, this memory bit. So essentially what happens is it starts remembering stuff and saving it on your computer and aggregating. So compounded knowledge. And then this is all in your device. So it's not saved anywhere, not on the cloud, not in our servers, whatnot. And every time you process something, it will call out the relevant like knowledge or memory it has of you to inject that context, which is why it knows like who you are, what you're trying to achieve, etc. And over time, it gets better as well.
Right. So as long as because you're saying it's saved on our own devices, as long as we do our own due diligence in terms of keeping that device, with basic security features, then no one else should have access to this information that we're feeding in, because that does create, like you said, like a profile of us with all our data.
Correct. So this is all device specific, but if you want to remove it entirely, you can delete everything. So you can reset the memories and whatnot. Or you can also, if let's say worst case, your computer does get stolen, we have a fail safe. You can just reach out to us. We can kill the account.
And okay, that's great. What it
Mhm.
what about the reverse? So for example, that my computer crashes and then I don't you said I don't do I lose everything then? But did you mention that there was something on the cloud as well?
No, there's nothing in the cloud.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we have to do like another backup just to make sure that we don't lose how does that
Yeah.
happen then? How do we do how would you suggest, say, doing a backup of everything that we've painstakingly put together with this AI agent?
So for this one, like over here you can see I have some memories, right?
Mhm.
You can every once in a while just like take a screenshot if you want. And then if it ever crashes, like computer ever crashes, you can feed it back into your new OpenSeal and say like this is the previous context. So it has like a rough foundation again of like who you are and what was done before.
Okay.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Thanks.
No worries.
Good questions. Yeah, thanks, Anu. It's always good to get it from that point of view, I think, as well.
Mhm.
There was another question in the chat which followed on from Tamara's one from Oliver as well. And he said his question was saying, do you mean that it's passing the HTML? And then the follow-up to that was, and is there a specific context that you have for known domains like Google Slides and Firefly? Will it do as well for unknown sites?
Oh, that one I can't answer, sorry. I'm the non-technical founder. So the data scientist, my CEO is technical and he's the one who
Julian,
built
right?
this. Yes, right, Julian.
Yeah.
So I mean I can get back to you with the answer if you want. Maybe you can pop
Yeah,
in
yeah.
your stuff.
We'll Oliver, yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
we'll get you an answer and we can pop that over to you as well.
When you say unknown sites, what do you mean by that? Sorry.
Yeah, I was wondering, I mean, is there a particular site you had in mind, Oliver? Maybe we could even, if we had a minute, we could show you. Oh, can't unmute. Oh, wait, let me unmute you. Actually, maybe that's probably easier, right? We're going back and forth on the chat. There you go, Oliver.
Can you hear?
Hey.
Hi. Um, yeah, I just want to say this is super impressive. But I just mean like there must be some sites. I don't have a particular one in mind, but
Mhm.
there must be some sites that are not within your training set or whatever, right?
Oh
That
yeah.
you're either providing context for, or,
Yeah,
and so there's
so
like something totally unknown that it has never seen before.
right. So we have some stuff whereby the sites may actually be blocking like passing in the first place. So that's stuff that we can't access, but the workaround is you just share your screen. So it takes the image instead. Is that what you're getting at?
Kind of. Yeah, actually, I was a bit surprised that
Yeah.
LinkedIn would allow you to get data from that. So it is through
Oh
the
yeah.
screenshots.
No, for this one, it was basically pure passing. So we made a little workaround. Sorry, my Apollo. We did a little workaround. So it wasn't easy, but the users that were using it were asking specifically for LinkedIn posts, content strategy and stuff. So we did that. Like we are passing the page as is. I don't know
Okay.
how exactly. I can't answer the technical part, but I could check and get back to you.
Okay. No worries. Thank you.
Yay.
Yeah, it's interesting because you use Apollo, we've used Apollo as well. And I know that their Apollo have actually been banned from LinkedIn now, their account at least. I don't know if Apollo's kind of data gathering has also been blocked or not, but yeah, it's interesting that changes. I think sometimes though it's just an industry response to something like LinkedIn not being fast enough to innovate really. So that's where I guess tools like what you're building is really helpful because it kind of, we get what we need without having to wait maybe months and years for it to happen.
Hopefully it's helpful, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think just wrapping up now. I don't think there's any other questions in there, but hopefully everyone found that really helpful. I certainly did as well. I found, I think all this stuff is really good. Oh yeah, see,
Yeah,
yeah.
super helpful. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for giving me your time. And thanks for attending the talk.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, and I'll see you tomorrow as well, right? So we'll catch
Yes,
up
yes.
on
We'll
this.
catch up. See you soon.
Yeah, and make sure you grab that trial, everyone, as well. We'll share the recording around, so you can, if you haven't scanned it by now, you can scan it from the recording as well. But yeah, looking forward to keeping the conversation going.
Okay, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.